Hi there, and welcome to today's Calix webinar, A Blueprint for Success, how Tom Bigby Fiber uses community Wi-Fi to improve NPS and fuel subscriber growth. We're thrilled to have you with us. We'll officially kick things off in a minute or two, so grab your coffee, get comfy, and hang tight as folks continue to join. Hi, thanks for waiting. A quick list of housekeeping notes before we get started. Today's session is being recorded and a copy will send to everyone who registered. So if you miss anything or want to share it with your team, you'll have it in your inbox soon. You'll see a Q&A panel, and that's the place you drop your questions at any time. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can during the session. Chat is also open too. Let us know where you're joining from or share your thoughts and reactions along the way. We love seeing the conversation. This webinar is designed to be interactive, insightful, and worth your time. We're excited to dive in. With that, I'll hand it over to your moderator, Kevin Kuo, Director of Solutions Marketing, supporting residential and community Wi-Fi. Kevin, the mic is all yours.
Thank you very much, Melissa, and welcome and good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to be joined today with one of my colleagues from our success team, and we'll be highlighting and be joined by a very self-esteemed customer, Tom Bigby, that and we're really excited to share and collaborate with Tom Bigby on kind of bringing best practices and learnings from what Scott and team have done in this webinar. And we really want to make it interactive and collaborative as much as possible. So please get ready with a set of questions as you have, and we've gotten a lot of feedback in terms of questions on how successful to deploy SmartTown in serving areas, and what are the kind of shortcuts and best case learnings that Tom Bigby could share to make your deployments as successful as theirs. So with the agenda, I'll do a quick round of introductions. I'll just share a few slides on what SmartTown represents. I'll hand it off to Ashley to talk about success to find assets and the go-to-market framework. And then the bulk of this webinar will really be spent with the Tom Bigby team, right? We want them to tell their story to all of you, have the ability and the opportunity to ask questions as they come in. And we really want to share their knowledge, right? Their experiences with all of you to hopefully make your successful SmartTown deployments as successful as they have. and then we'll end with Q&A. So with that, let me introduce today's speakers. So as I said, Ashley Ehler, she represents the Senior Success Account Manager here at Calix, and she is the account lead for Tom Bigby. I'm joined by Scott Hendricks. Scott is the Chief Executive Officer for Tom Bigby Electric Power Association and Tom Bigby Fiber. He'll be joined by some of his team members, Matt Fennell, he's the Manager of Fiber Services, and Chris Thompson, who's a network engineer and has been working on the network architecture related to their SmartTown deployments for Tom Bigby. So welcome everyone, and we can get going. We're going to start with an interactive poll. The first one, does your company have plans to launch or deploy the SmartTown managed solution to your subscribers? And you'll see there 4 options for you to select from. My company has already launched a solution within the next 6 months, within the next 12 to 18 months, or no current plans, but I'm interested to learn more. So please participate in this webinar. It's kind of, we utilize this information to gauge the audience and understand what we want to emphasize during the content presentation. So I see answers coming in. We'll just give it another couple seconds as all of you find the buttons to answer those questions. Okay, it looks like it's leveling off. And why don't we end the poll and let's move forward here. Okay, all right. So what is community Wi-Fi? And I thought I would open up really quickly in terms of some market research that was done through Forbes Advisor, really understanding what are, why are people using community Wi-Fi? And as most of you probably are well aware, that the majority of people access public Wi-Fi multiple times a month, right? And probably even multiple times a week. And then 23% of them use public Wi-Fi to cut down on cellular data usage, right? It's a substitute. It's, SmartTown is really a best effort solution. Doesn't replace cellular service, but it's a best effort in terms of driving open Wi-Fi within the community serving area. 20% use public Wi-Fi to make financial transactions. And then obviously the most common places are people at hospitality and public locations within their communities. So what is SmartTown, right? So SmartTown really is a community-wide reimagined solution that's fiber fed and delivers high-speed Wi-Fi. It delivers and offers a managed subscriber experience, and access is authenticated by Passpoint. SmartTown is secure and safe with Protect IQ and Experience IQ. And it's simple to use and really leverages the same platforms we use for residential and business broadband. So, with the understanding that SmartTown really is a core component of the smart home experience, you'll see 6 use cases in front of you. And I'm going to start with the subscribers across town. So in that example, it's where customers that have lit up their residential gateways or their downtown spaces and invited all of their subscribers to move throughout town with SmartTown connectivity. First responders, organizations, education, they all work the same way. They're authenticated users gaining access to access points, whether they're dedicated or shared access points that are deployed within residential or small business markets. And then we have public spaces. Subscribers in public spaces, they're authenticated users. So as an example, that's myself, and I'm a Tom Bigby customer. I go down to a local park, and since I'm already an authenticated user, Tom Bigby offers SmartTown in the park already, I'm automatically going to connect. I'm never going to have to perform any other action after my initial onboarding. And then visitors in public spaces has a different profile. So let's say I don't live in Tom Bigby's footprint, but I go to a park where Tom Bigby offers SmartTown. I can open my iPhone, look for a Wi-Fi network, and find Tom Bigby's SmartTown network, and I can join through a captive portal. So those are the basic 6 use cases that revolve around SmartTown, the SmartTown solution. And I want to end on the key attributes of SmartTown, right? Just a summary here in front of you. As I said, fiber-fed, high-capacity network. We have safe and secure experiences through Passpoint. We support different use cases within the communities, and I just conveyed them to you. It's a fully managed subscriber experience on a common operating model or platform. And we leverage those access and residential business access points to get a seamless connectivity experience throughout the communities that you currently live, work, or play in. So with that, I want to pass it on to Ashley to talk about success.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And good afternoon, everyone. So I just want to take a really brief moment here and just call out how the Calix success team can help if you all decide to deploy that smart town. So I'm sure you guys have probably heard this before, but here at Calix, our mission really is to simplify, innovate, and help you all grow. This is exactly where our success team comes in. So we want to ensure you all have a successful and seamless launch of SmartTown. So a couple of things that we've done to help is we've built out our roadmaps to provide a clear path forward. This is just to make sure that we're aligned and that our goals are aligned and also your strategies. We also have a Smart Town community group. So this is where you guys get to gain access to a huge community. There's actually over 10,000 members in it where you can explore any knowledge-based articles, share insights, and also engage in some of those meaningful discussions not just with the Calix team, but also some other BSPs that have also been in your shoes. The Smart Start program for Smart Start is this is where kind of everything kicks off, right? So it really is that launch pad for delivering that top-notch subscriber experience. And it's also giving you that structured guidance along the way. I'll dive a little bit more into that Smart Start here in a second, but we also want to talk about that success support. So the success group, we are really here to empower your teams by sharing all those best practices, the knowledge, making sure that you all are confident and ready for launch. And we even help with maintaining that success thereafter that. So let's dive a little bit deeper into what's included for that Smart Start for Smart Town. If you could just move forward that slide for me, Kevin. So the Smart Town Wi-Fi predictive design, this is going to be hands-on in-person training. We also do some field demonstrations by the Calix Success team just to make sure that we're helping build that confidence and improve that installation efficiency. We also have workshops available. So we'll pop in to your on-site 2 days, and those are designed really just to make sure that your Smart Town deployment is going to meet capacity, also the coverage and the course that meets those quality expectations for your customers. And then we even go as far as strategic planning. So we've got a really great group of people here at Calix that will help with goal setting, all of your go-to-market planning, and even the execution. And we'll also have a ton of ongoing resources. So anything from market activation, pre-launch checklists, knowledge articles, videos, enablement guides, everything that you all need will be right at your fingertips through things like the Calix University and the Calix community. So kind of just to sum up everything that I talked about, I just want to let you guys know and ensure you that you are not alone when it comes to anything that Calix has to offer under the Calix umbrella. You all are going to have that one-on-one support, and we're going to guide you through the entire process to really be the best of the best. The sole purpose of the success team is to make sure that your people are prepared across marketing, sales, operations, installation, support, employee enablement, you name it, right? We are really here to help. So that's all I have for the success side here. But before I hand it over to our awesome Tom Bigby team, we do want to have a quick little poll here real quick. So if you guys could just take a second and answer this. And then we will pass it off in just a second. All right, so Kevin, I can't see the answers. I'm hoping that we have enough there.
We do,
All
Ashley.
right, great. Well, without further ado, I don't want to take up any more of Tom Bigby's time here, so I'm going to hand it over to them. I will tell you that I've been working with the Tom Bigby team for a little over a year and a half. They are absolutely phenomenal. Their story really is one of innovation. They have a strong community commitment. and they constantly put their subscriber first. So it's really great because they are redefining what it means to deliver broadband in rural America. And I'm super proud to work with them and to also have them share what they do to be so successful. So, Scott, I'll pass it over to you.
Thanks, Ashley. So my job today is to talk a little bit about who we are and where we've come from. Tom Bigby was an electric cooperative before electric cooperatives existed 92 years ago. We were at the very beginning of that movement, trying to make our lives better, our communities better, and everything better around us. To give you some sense of scope and size, we've got about 4,500 miles of electric line, 3,300 miles of fiber. This time, 5 years ago, we did not have a single fiber customer. We got in the business in 2020. Go to the next slide, please. Today, we have 45,000 electric meters and 55,000 some odd fiber passings, close approaching 56 and 46. We currently have 27,000 fiber subscribers, and we'll be happy when we have 58,000. And I will have to get a few folks to move here to hit that target, but I think we can do it because we're making our communities better. So why did we buy into SmartTown? Well, we had some knowledge. We heard the Calix folks talking about what it could do and why it would do, but it really hit home to me that national providers wanted to provide some sort of community connectivity in big cities. And I sat across the table or across the room or whatever it was and said, I can do that in rural Mississippi. And if I can do it in a 1,200 person town, you can do it anywhere. And so that was my goal, is to bring the best options and the best service to the people we serve. Just because you live in rural America doesn't mean you don't deserve the best. And it's my goal is to be the best BSP in America and to give the best service in America. And so why not bring this service to them? Next slide. We have tremendous service inside the home. We do a managed network. We offer all of the Calix products. Well, if you can do that, why would you not want to take that beyond the front door? Why would you not want to give great service at the football field, at the city park, downtown? It gives connectivity to roam across your system, and as you may hear a little bit today, at some point maybe roam across the country as other BSPs join in a SmartTown alliance. But that's not the point of this webinar. But I'm part of that, so I'm proud of that. So that's where we started and why we got into it. Next slide. We approached this from not the 6 slides that Kevin was talking about, but sort of the same mindset. We viewed this as communities. So the first and primary communities, we want all of our customers to have access to this network. Well, how do you do that? When we first came up with the idea, we said, we really want to roll this out. We really want to make a splash. And you can't do that quickly. You can't sell it to people quickly. You can't explain it to people quickly. So why not hit sporting events? So our first dipping our toe into this pool was what we called Friday Night Fiber, which was 3 years ago. We went in a 2 week time period. We got the Calix team here. We rolled SmartTown out to the 9 football fields we serve. We serve 9 different communities across our footprint. And that was the beginning of what became our sports network. So now it's all sports at all schools. It's a dirt racing track for auto racing and anything else that we think fits an environment that is sports related. All guests to all those events are invited to the network. They do not have to be our customer. Well, where do you go from there? The next thing we wanted to do was deal with first responders. We live in a rural area. It's a very good chance your cell phone doesn't work and your radio doesn't work if you cross a hill and go into a bottom or some little country area out in the middle of nowhere. I've got a 58% chance that your house or the house next to you is my customer. So why not turn on those residential RGs and make them available not just to my customers, but to first responders? I've got a slide here in a minute we'll get to talk about the event of that. And then you got to do a temporary basis for all the parks and everything for community festivals. So that was how we approached it. So we built the football fields first. We've then built all the towns, all the parks, all the main streets of these towns we serve. And then we went back and got all the sports. And we continue to expand, but Matt or somebody will tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. Hit the next slide. So this is a slide that I'm kind of proud of. When we first did those Friday Night Fiber rollouts, we went to each school, we set up a tent, we put QR codes out. Our only method of accessing SmartTown at that time was a PassPoint connection. So we had our team at every school for the first few games at each school. and would walk people through that Passpoint connection. And once they had it, they stayed in that sporting network. If they were our regular member customer, they stayed in the network for everything. We were the first in Calix to ever do it. We turned on 19,000 residential gateways on one day into the SmartTown network. It worked fine. I think I scared the Calix people when I pushed for that, but it was a great day. And now that's up to like 26,000. And so you can really see, and Chris will show you in a minute, some dots on the map of how widespread in our coverage area that we are to give you access. Go to the next slide. And I'm just hitting history here. So you talk about first responders. You talk about what I talked about a minute ago. Go ahead, one more slide. If you can save a life with this, you've more than paid for it. SmartTown is not a huge investment. SmartTown is not a heavy lift staff-wise, technology-wise, network-wise. Chris can talk about that as my network engineer. But if you put it out there and one first responder can call for backup if there's a situation where they need it, or they can send your heart telemetry back to the hospital as you're helicoptered in or as you're ambulanced in, and they save that life. Haven't we fulfilled our mission? Our goal is to make our customers' lives better. I would think we all share that on this call. Why not save those lives? Why not do that? So that was our goal with going to first responders, and in large part because of Tom Bigby, Calix offers that first responder service free if you take part in this program nationally. So you can do that with no additional cost to all your first responders. Now, if you choose to charge for some of these things, that's up to you. But we've viewed this as a community service. That last poll that Ashley did, I would have been D, all of the above, or E, all of the above, because that was how we viewed the project and how we approached it. Next slide, please. So you're going to move here to Matt in just a minute. He's my manager of fiber services, but he's also the mayor of the town where we rolled out SmartTown, Manatee, Mississippi. It's a great 1,200 person town. And again, if you can do SmartTown there, you can do it anywhere. The people that come up to you at the football games or in the downtowns, you see their faces, and that leads into how you measure success for this program. So I will chime in as we go throughout the day, because if any of you know me, I can't not do that. But I'm going to turn it over to Matt and let him tell you some more details about the program. But I just wanted to give you a little history of where we started and how we got to here, and I'm sure there'll be some questions at the end. Thanks, Matt. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Good to be with you all today. Thank you, Scott, for the introduction, and Calix for the support through the process of building out SmartTown. You see a map on the screen there. This was a map we used as we built our fiber network. Of course, being an electric cooperative, all these areas are substation areas, substation feeders. And that's the reason for the names there. But we built out turning areas from blue to green as the areas became active. There you will see in the center of the page, there's a area that's not green. It's still clear. That's the city of Tupelo. So as we built out over the last 5 years, and now we serve 27,000 homes or businesses throughout our network, we built the SmartTown network. We're now in 15 communities. We built downtown parks. Scott mentioned 9 schools, football stadiums, a racetrack. We received a grant a few years, or just last year, excuse me, and built out to almost 60 rural fire departments, libraries, additional community parks, and have expanded this network, along with turning on, the gigaspires in the home, which has made this network very robust. Scott mentioned me being a small town mayor, serving the town of Manatee. Small town, but prior to Tom Bigby, but I say small town, but we're 15 minutes from Tupelo. So we're not that rural. But in Manatee, I was the last home in the city limits before Tom Bigby built fiber, our fiber network. I had DSL internet service, so 4 meg service, and now I have 2 gig service. offered at my residence. But how did SmartTown blend in with the community? I'm the mayor there, and we had the opportunity to build SmartTown community Wi-Fi in the park. Next door, we have the football stadium. So they now have access. We supported them in their concession stands. We supported them in live streaming games through this network. And it's just been a great partnership with Tom Bigby, the town, the school district, the community. And that's why I believe that we're at a 75% take rate in Manatee, and that continues to grow.
Hey, Matt, let me chime in on a point there. So what we traded with the schools, we didn't charge them anything to put SmartTown in there. We don't charge anybody access, but we did trade for some advertising. So we get some sign space, we get some program space, we get some scoreboard space at various schools. So that was our trade-off. Hey, we'll bring you this and we'll help you do everything Matt just talked about. You can live stream, you can do everything, you can get great service in the stadiums. And that's all we asked back, which was a small trade. Now, we do give them popcorn bags with QR codes on them and that sort of stuff with SmartTown logos to help get people to know about it. But it's been a great symbiotic relationship. We gave them something they needed and wanted, and sometimes they didn't even know they wanted for no cost to them, and great feedback and great responsiveness from the community where they see us. That's more valuable than any other form of advertising, more valuable than a billboard.
No doubt about it. If you go to the next slide, please. So Ashley touched on, kind of the Smart Start program. Calix helped us along the way to, create some marketing materials. You will see the signage on the right, free Wi-Fi, something to cheer for. Calix helped us develop this material. We rolled this out to all of our, football stadiums. We started there, but something we're going to do different is we're changing this sign up. We're personalizing it. More Tom Bigby school flavor. We're going to put the school logos on that this coming year. So gives them some more buy-in. We're interactive. I know Chris will probably touch on it. He and his team work to make sure that all the access points are on prior to events. So it's just a good interactive relationship. And that trickles out, that word trickles out. Hey, Tom Bigby's here to support us, on the most granular level. And I think that's huge for our success. Next slide. I think I have one more. Here's kind of our progression. And you will see, I'll just point out that bottom blue line as we've grown, customers connected. We have, Scott mentioned 55,000 passings, and we're not going to be happy, or he's not going to be happy till we hit 58,000. And I think that's the goal as we continue to add electric meters or customer passings, I should say. But that blue line, as you have, a limited number of customer passings, you want to continue that customer growth. And I truly believe SmartTown allows us just to stay interactive with our customer base and to keep that growth ahead of us.
I think you got one more slide, Matt.
Oh, yes, I forgot about this one. Net Promoter Score. So 2 years ago, with the help of Calix, we did our first Net Promoter Score. We rolled out our survey, didn't know what to expect. We scored a 91. So we waited a year. We rolled out SmartTown during this next year, of course, trying to provide the best customer service as possible while building as fast as possible. And Scott and I talked about it a bit on the second survey. We thought we would probably tick down. My guess was probably in the 80s, and we actually went up to a 92. I think probably being interactive in our communities like we are, providing great customer service, and probably the interaction with SmartTown helped us to improve our Net Promoter Score. And when we do this again in this next year, I'm hoping for at least a 93. So.
Why shoot so low?
Exactly.
I think that lets us jump to Chris, and he wants to talk about a little bit about what we've done, a few pitfalls, how we built this thing, and then move on down the line. So, Chris, unmute your phone and tell us about construction efforts and where we've been and gone. Can't hear you.
How about now?
That's perfect.
You think a network engineer would know how to use a mute button. So thanks everyone for having me. Excited to talk about SmartTown. So you can see on this slide here, this is just an overall map of our network with SmartTown overlaid on it. All the small green dots that Scott was referencing earlier. So these are all of our premise RGs. All the white icons, these are basically what we deem like points of interest. So anywhere that we felt like our community would be able to take advantage of our Wi-Fi experience where we could better serve them. So think of parks, athletic fields, downtown event spaces, anywhere that we thought that one of our communities we were serving would be able to utilize our Wi-Fi access to better the community, to better their efforts. As Scott mentioned earlier, one of the things that when you see this from a network perspective, the first thing that really I was hesitant about when we were deploying this is, man, what effect is this going to have on this network? Like, how do I plan for this? How do I plan for all this extra traffic we're fixing to throw at it? We're a PON network, so we have some overhead, which I'm sure most people do that are on this call. But even knowing that, I was a little hesitant, because we've deployed when you're looking at these event spaces and athletic fields, we're up to 250 access points that we've deployed out in the field. So I had some hesitancy there, but I will tell you, we've been deploying this for 2 years now. It's very, very, very minimal, and I've actually been shocked about how little traffic difference you see with deploying this much extra network architecture. And I'll give a good example. So July 4th, this previous July 4th, we had widespread community events everywhere all throughout our network. And we've got a good enough relationship with these community leaders that hold these events that they utilize our SmartTown access points for these events. So one in particular that me and my family were at, the community that I live in, I know for certain that there were a couple hundred people at this community event, and we were utilizing the SmartTown access points. So knowing that, after the event, that this past Monday, I went in and checked traffic, and you couldn't tell a difference from that Friday's traffic that Friday night when we held the event from a month prior to that. Like, there was no major increase. There was no, so just from my perspective, planning from like a network side, I was hesitant, but now after going through it and experiencing it, it's nothing, because these people are out there just generic internet traffic. I mean, it's nothing that's going to stress a network. So
So Chris, you were telling me about that event, and so you had 100 or more people. You had the music, you had the point of sale people at the event, you all using the wireless SmartTown network, and then you were using it in the far corner from the transmitter. What was your access rate at that point?
Yeah, so just out of curiosity, because as Scott said, I mean, it was a very dense area, very densely populated where I was at. Me and my family were sitting where they were holding some live music, and so everybody was kind of gathered in this one area listening to the music. And I was roughly 300 to 400 feet away from one of the access points that we deployed, and I was still getting over 500 symmetrical upload and download to my iPhone. So when you're doing that for your community, you're giving them a better experience, at a public space that they can get in their home with another provider.
Let me pause you there. That's the point of doing this.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
so if I can get better than my regular provider in a public crowded space in rural Mississippi, why wouldn't I switch to Tom Bigby and let them show me what they could do in my home? And the cost of doing this is cheaper than billboards. Experience matters, and that one experience to that potential customer shows them you're legit, you're community oriented, you care about your customers, and you can deliver. And that's the one thing people need to know. And that will get you more than pay for SmartTown. Will get you a continuing growth rate like Matt showed you. Will get you a high or higher NPS score. And that's what all this is about. Chris put it as better than anybody could in my view. And I just had to hammer it home because that's what this SmartTown stuff is all about. Go ahead, Chris. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no. And I think just kind of piggybacking off of that, I think, us deploying this in these communities, I mean, it's brought our team, us as a whole, Tom Bigby, closer to our communities. I've met community directors, Main Street directors, leaders of parks, people that I probably never would have run into before. But we're out there helping them. We're offering them this service. These people are planning events around where our access points are. And then, like Scott said earlier, we make sure we've got a team of guys, and we make sure we follow these Main Street events, or any event per se, and we know something's going to happen. We've got monitoring in place, but we like to get boots on the ground and go out and make sure this, everything's working to a T before an event.
Tell them the command center at the 4th of July event.
Yeah. So speaking of a community leader, I was talking to the Main Street director of the community where I live, and I was just telling her how great the event was going. She was, telling us how happy she was with the SmartTown being up. And she kind of pointed to our police department. She was like, they're really happy that, with your guys' product that you've got it here. And I look over, and they had just purchased a mobile command unit, and they had it out there at this event, and they were utilizing our internet access for their mobile command unit to work and for it to be at this event and be able to communicate. So I thought that was awesome. I mean, again, it's just another way serving our community, our law enforcement, our first responders. It's showing them that we care. And again, we're going to a captive portal now, and so it's not a matter of, hey, you've got to be our customer to experience this or enjoy this. It can be anybody. There's no QR codes anymore. You pull up, you click your captive portal, and you're experiencing our Wi-Fi now. So, customer or not, obviously, we hope that kind of persuades some, maybe. But customer or not, they can utilize our internet access. So, and then one more thing, I know Scott spoke on this earlier, but another thing, when you look at all these dots, 19, 20,000 dots, I think this was at the time. That's the other hesitation is, all right, you've got, in our shoes, we had 20,000 customers, and it's, how do you deploy this new suite or this new offering and not break everything? I mean, we were built out pretty well, and then we're just going to throw this on top of it. And as Scott said, I think Calix wanted to kind of inch in a little bit and do a little here and there. Scott was like, you do 20,000 and you do none. So they simply built a workflow, help us build a workflow. And throughout a night, we ran the workflow, automated, deployed it to every RG. Obviously we communicated with the customers ahead of time. I think out of 20,000 customers, Matt or Scott may know, I think we had 2 opt-outs.
It was 5 opt-outs out of 20,000.
5 out of 20,000. So we had 5 opt-out. But other than that, we deployed this workflow throughout, and it took care of our entire network. And to this day, 2 years later, that's the workflow I still use for any new customer that has turned up.
Well, and I want to point out before he goes to the next slide and shows you what this system looks like. 2 years ago, when we turned this on, we had 20,000 customers. 2 years later, without really doing any advertising, we have 27,000 customers. That's almost a third growth in a 2-year period with only providing continued good service. And now that's the suites, the Protect and the Command and the Experience IQ and the rest of it. But that's adding SmartTown on top, and that's giving great service. We really don't advertise because we can barely install at the rate we're installing with internal crews at this point. We can barely install at the rate they're signing up now. The only thing we're doing is giving them good service, and all this fits together, and you can't separate it from the Net Promoter Score. You can't separate it from the market success in the market. So I think that's That's a really cool thing. Chris, show them what a couple pitfalls we had in building this stuff.
Okay. So on the next slide, you can see this is our initial deployment. Just visually, I wanted you guys to see this. Initial deployment, the Calix P6HE is what we were using. We deployed it with a PVC box. So everything that is making the internet work, we just kind of stuffed inside of that box. What we quickly realized is water and electricity don't mix. You think working for a power company, I would have figured that out. So we had some pitfalls, and we've grown from that. But so what we have now moved to, which is in the next slide, is we are utilizing Calix's newest unit, the P6DX. We have went to a metal box instead of PVC, and instead of mounting them on top, we're mounting them on the front of it. So for one, it somewhat conceals the box. To us, it's a more visually appealing, in my opinion. We're not having the water intrusion we were having from the previous design because we're not mounting the unit on top of the box, we're mounting it on the front. And then the other key piece of this that is really helping us is this unit is an all-in-one unit. So when we're going out here and deploying these, there's no ONT, there's no extra power supply to worry about. This is an all-in-one unit. The ONT is built into it. So maintaining this stuff has been way easier than we anticipated. Typically, if we run into an issue, it's our previous design and it's water intrusion. So it's tripped a breaker because it got in the electrical outlet inside the box. So this is the design, some of you guys may see something different and run with that, but this is the design that we are going with now that we would recommend. And if anybody ever has any questions regarding this design or the old one, part numbers or anything, I'd be more than willing to share any of this. But this right here, we feel like is going to help us maintain, like I said, these 250 plus access points we deployed, which have not been hard at all to maintain up to this point. Like I said, pretty much any issue we've had with anything has been power related, and it's been due to moisture getting in the boxes. So we went to this style that it seals better, and again, no water intrusion from the top. So,
Chris, if I could ask you a quick question. So the
yes.
P6DX is our long distance Wi-Fi system, right? It goes up to a mile or so. Have
Yes,
you
sir.
seen advantages or efficiencies in terms of your SmartTown deployments and the serving areas that are more remote, right? So in other words, as you kind of alluded to, the P6DX is now, I guess, your moving forward strategy
Yes, sir.
for deployment. Can you give a little more insights into any results from the P6DX that came out of that new deployment strategy?
Yeah, again, it's helping us out. I mean, for one, we're not having to stand as many up. We're getting more coverage out of it.
Yeah.
This picture in particular that I took was from a very rural place. It's the newest unit we had just stood up for a festival. That is, I mean, when you're driving down the
That's
road,
great.
you're shocked there's power out here where I'm at. So, if I would have went with a P6HE, it may have taken 2 units. But we were able to cover this entire festival area for one of our subscribers. It was a subscriber that already had our internet service, and we were just kind of doing this as a favor for the community. But yeah, I
That's
mean, it's
great.
helped out the long range, and then again, the addition of having it as an all-in-one. It's less equipment for us to try to maintain. It's easier provisioning. We like the P6HE. I don't know that we'll order anymore because the P6DX has been that good for us. It's been really good.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Chris, I also had a question too from April. So April asked, how long did it take to put all the access points in place and get them activated?
So we've done this slowly over a matter of 2 years. We've had, like Matt mentioned earlier, we've had some grant opportunities. So it's really hard to say because we've not, we didn't take all 250 and just try to deploy them in a month's time. What I can say is typically we'll stage them. So like this unit right here, what you're looking at, this picture on the left, every bit of that is built in our warehouse and sitting on a table ready to go. So we stage these ahead of time, and it takes very little time to put these together, especially after you've done over 200. You get good at it. But it takes us very little time to prep these and stage them, and then we just take them out and bolt them to the poles. So the deployment's not hard, but it's hard to say. If you were going to do a park or an area, uh, Matt, Scott, I would say a week at the most to cover an entire downtown area.
Yeah, I would say that. And the best example, we were racing when we did the football network. So I would say we did on average four of the round P6HE, I think is the right thing. We did four of those per stadium. And it was equate to basically four fiber drops to that stadium. And we did 36 of those for the nine in a matter of about 3 weeks. We had the first one on within a 2 week period, and then all the home games everybody didn't play home the first week. So the first home game varied over a 3 week period. But in that 3 week time period, probably 4 weeks total, we had 36 units up, running, and successful, and we're ready to do the rollout. The rest of it, we've done one area at a time. So you just roll in and you do a town. It probably takes a week, two tops. To begin with, we were having the Calix success team come in and help us design what we needed for these towns, and it's pretty simple. And they showed us how to do it, and we got to where we didn't need them for the smaller towns, and then we have continued to design those on our own ever since. But if you want to equate it to as many fiber drops as you can do per day, you could put up that many of these if you got them pre-staged like Chris talked about. That's all it is a fiber drop. And you can mesh them, and we're toying with the meshing them now, and Chris can speak to that. But we've in most places done a distinct drop to each just to give faster and better service because we view it as advertising, and it's easy for us to do it that way. But you could do one drop per stadium and mesh the units and get a little bit slower service, but it would still work. Chris has got lots of questions, so I'll shut up.
Yeah, one thing though.
I'll just add one thing to that. We, with our community Wi-Fi grants, we were awarded in December to add at December of last year, about 80 access points. We had a pretty strict deadline in April, and Chris and his team was able to meet that deadline with adding 80 access points to our network. So that can give you an idea of how quick we scaled for those grant deadlines.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, and I just want to really add on to, I think the application of deployment strategies that you utilized were spot on in terms of P6HE for the stadiums and the sporting complexes because it's omnidirectional, right? So you have 360-degree coverage. It makes sense. For the P6DX, that's sector focused. So when you have those long distances, that's how the Wi-Fi signal can go farther. So I think in the use cases and how you're deploying that, Chris, I think it's, used between toggling based on the use case and the application between the two systems really makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
I think we've got a couple questions for Chris. Ashley, take the lead.
Yeah, no worries. So Jordan wants to know what traffic configuration is Tom Bigby using for their SmartTown deployment? Is it bridge routed, shared routed, separate, and then why?
So we went with shared. Honestly, I think it was the only option when we done it, just because we were so new to this, and so was Calix. I think separate is what Calix recommends now. But with separate, which I'm sure they know this, but you've got to have the resources to support separate. So whether that be, on the access side with the separate VLANs, the IPs, the resources available, if you've got the IPs available for that to happen. We've talked internally, about shared or separate, if we ever need to change. But right now we're on a shared VLAN and we've had absolutely no issues in 2 years. The ease of turning up on a shared VLAN was nice. There was nothing from a network perspective per se that I had to set up. I thought I had to plan for a bunch of extra traffic that I didn't have to. But if you go with a separate VLAN, from my understanding, you've got a little room, you got a little homework to do before you can get this deployed. We done shared, and it's been flawless.
Ashley, I'll take the next question. The question is, what communities do you make available in the SmartTown residential RGs? For example, are visitors allowed or just public access areas? So and Matt and Chris can correct me, but on the home RGs, it is the customer network that we've invited to every transmitter that's out there. And it's the first responder network that we've invited to every transmitter that's out there. We have not made that available for the captive at this point or to the visitors. Those folks get all the public spaces, all the schools, all the sporting events, the racetrack, downtown areas, but they don't get the residential RGs. I don't know that that's a permanent decision, but that's the decision we've made at this point, unless somebody's trumped me and done something different. Is that still the way it works, guys?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Chris, you got one more slide that I think is huge. I think you need to share it.
Okay. Yeah, and so you can see the slide here. So, and the amazing thing about this slide is that you see the numbers here. This is data we pulled from January. So this is not 2-year data from the minute we started turning this network up with SmartTown. This is data we just pulled from the beginning of this year. So you can see, almost 500,000 new devices and almost 3 million connections. So I think this slide here is just a testament to what we're doing for our community, what we're able to offer to our community. And I think that's why it's been so well received by our entire team here and our community as well, and our customers. So.
I was amazed by these numbers.
Yeah.
All of our competitors that's nationally that I won't say their name, but they're in the cable business. And they are who they are. They're advertising presently on LinkedIn that they've had 1 billion devices connected. Well, they're worldwide. We're a little bitty old Mississippi. This is 55,000 Mississippians, and in 6 months, 6 months, we've had 430,000 devices connected just to our SmartTown. This isn't our home networks. This isn't my 2 iPads and my computer and my 2 TVs at home. This is just the SmartTown network. It's tremendous, the access it's giving people, and people are getting on it. They're staying connected. We've seen with some heat map trafficking that they'll log in Shannon, which is down on the south end of that green map that Matt showed you, or those green dots that Chris showed you, and they'll stay connected almost all the way to Tupelo or beyond, 30, 40 miles on a SmartTown network, which is a pretty cool thing, just as widespread as we are. And I'm very proud of my team for getting this done, and I'm really happy that we can bring this to a community that 5 years ago I lived right outside that white circle, and all I had was DSL. 4.59 down, 0.59 up, and now I've got community Wi-Fi, which is a protected network. I have all these things that are offered on my system to help me protect myself, protect the network, protect my family, and world-class service, world-class equipment, outdoor Wi-Fi, everything you would want in anywhere in the world. And I can keep my backyard view, which is what I love, my Mississippi view. And that's a really cool thing. And it's a testament to what you can do working with Calix, and it's a testament to what you can do on this network. And I'm proud to have told our story. I know we're about out of time, and I'm going to turn it back over to the Calix folks. But I will say this: anybody on the call, if you have questions or follow up, if you guys want to talk to me, my team, get on a separate Zoom. We were helped by a world of people to get to this point. Other co-ops, other ISPs, BSPs, and we will never close our door to helping somebody else. So if you need us, we'll be glad to talk to you. If the Calix team is the same, but thank you for letting us share our little bit of story here. And we had 100 more things we wanted to tell you. We've got more grant opportunities coming. We're going to build into Tupelo, into the parks in the downtown, and probably get another 200, 150 radios or transmitters put out there in the field, which will give us about 400 deployed. Tell you the stories of the volunteer fire department that can actually upload their data without having to go home now. They can get their work done easier because we put units at their place. And it's just changing lives. And you measure success on this. And Matt didn't say it this way, but I'm going to one smiling customer at a time. And I think we're doing a great job at that. And I challenge you to do the same.
No, I totally agree, Scott. I think this is a fantastic set of results. I mean, unbelievable, in a short amount of time. And would you agree? I mean, it's a true testament of your strategy of basically turning up gigaspires, right? And having the SmartTown container, SmartTown solution activated on it, and really delivering a true community-wide, smart town network, right? And community Wi-Fi. And I think your results really point to that, that strategy is working, and it's a good strategy to have and deploy.
I think it made logical sense to us, Kevin, when we started that this was the
Yeah, it's great.
only way we could pull it off.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I convinced my board to do this out of the gate because I could build to the football stadiums for half of what a billboard would cost. And that's what we did. And it was so successful. I didn't check up. We built to all the communities and all the downtowns and the growth and the feedback, and everybody gets it, and it's snowballed on top of itself. And I think it was the perfect way of deploying it. It's the perfect way to continue to deploy it. And I should say this: if you already offer the suites, the Experience Command, the Protect IQ through Calix, the cost of SmartTown's nothing. It's the cost of the units, and so you could do 80 units for $100,000. It's about $1,000 to $1,200 per transmitter with all the box and the equipment and the drop to make them work, which is nominal. We built a $120 million fiber build to build 4,000 miles of fiber. For me to roll out SmartTown to everywhere I'm going to dream about, I'm going to spend less than $400,000, and that's the ones I haven't built yet. To date, I've spent about $250,000, which in the scheme of things,
Wow.
minuscule for the return we get with the smiles of the customers. I go back to we measure it one smile at a time.
Fascinating story, Scott. Thank you, Scott, Matt, and Chris, for sharing, those experiences and best practices and learnings. I did want to note really quick and acknowledge the Tom Bigby team. I mean, for those of you that don't know, NPS, Net Promoter Scores, it's a loyalty metric, right? It's basically, it measures the willingness of customers to recommend a company, in this case, Tom Bigby, their products or services to others. So with a 92 score, which is unheard of, the industry is usually around the 40 to 60 range. So that gives you kind of a gauge and comparative gauge in terms of how well Tom Bigby is doing from a customer perception and how they would refer Tom Bigby as, best in class broadband service provider to others. So, I mean, it's really acknowledgement to, Scott, you and your team there and doing a fantastic job, and your customers are showing it, right, in the Net Promoter Score. So congratulations.
Thank you. We work hard for it, and we'll keep doing it. And we're at 58,000th customer. I don't know what we'll do next, but we'll try. We'll add more products.
No, that's a great story. We have one last poll question. I know we're running out of time. If all of you that are on, could you please acknowledge and address this question? Would you like to have a brief talk or consult with Calix to learn more about SmartTown solution and what Tom Bigby did? We'll be happy to kind of set up something as a follow-up with all of you. So please answer the question. Be great. Just give it another couple seconds. And in the meantime, I do want to thank Scott, Matt, and Chris from the Tom Bigby for sharing a fantastic story, and to Ashley, and kind of bringing that story to the table and really conveying, bringing it to others that really are wanted to learn more. So I think we accomplished that today. So I want to thank all of you on that. Okay, we can close up the poll. And that's it. I know we're out of time. So again, thank you all. Have a great day, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you very much.
all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will share this recording when it's available. Have a good day, and we'll see you next time.